Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Monday, the second day of June 2025. I hope you're safe and healthy today. I hope your family is safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, along with the first responders and those that are out here picking up garbage to keep our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children victims of child molestation and pedophilia. Those helping people that are victims of prostitution, child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, double curses on the profiteers, and double curses on the perverts that create the great demands that cause these industries to exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless, more than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, and military veterans homeless in the streets of the United States of America. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. So, the New York Knicks season ended last weekend, and it was a great season. They finished in the conference finals, losing in 6 games to a better Pacers team. The good news, and there's a lot of good news, aside from the success of the season, there is upside to this team. There are some situations where a team has gotten everything out of its roster that they can get, and you cannot expect it to get more out of the current roster. Okay? And usually, for example, I'll use the Boston Celtics as that example. They were at their peak when they won the championship a year ago. They added a Kristaps Porzingis, who, even though being injury prone, had enough in the tank to put them over the top. With Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they have reached the peak of what they can do with those two superstar players. Adding Jrue Holiday, Derek White, and of course having Al Horford, which is a constant. You need that type of player, somebody you know you can depend on 100% of the time to do certain things on the floor, a veteran that knows his way around the league, knows his way around the court. And then, of course, you add bench pieces that are developing and still have upside, like Peyton Pritchard. Okay? So all of that came together to create, and that's how a championship team is built, to create a synergy between the veterans, the up-and-coming youngsters, the superstars, and the additional ancillary pieces to get you over the top. That creates a championship. Only one champion is crowned every year, so only one team rises to that level. When you're looking at, say, the Oklahoma City Thunder, if they were to win the championship this year, the scary thing is there's more upside. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is at his peak right now as the MVP of the league. He can remain at that level for a number of years. He's young enough to do that. Chet Holmgren hasn't even gotten to his peak. Neither has J-Dub and several other pieces, young upcoming pieces. The additional pieces, such as Isaiah Hartenstein, also have upside. So you can expect them to be in the championship, not just playoff conversation, championship conversation for several years. Okay? I'm not trying to predict that they will win several years in a row, but they are going to be perennial championship threats every year for the next at least 3 or 4 seasons. Now, the way the league is financially structured also prevents a Boston Celtics style dynasty, but they're going to be around for a few years, a few good 2, 3, 4 years. Whereas the Celtics got everything they can out of Tatum and Brown. Porzingis was really good for that 1 year, but he's an injury-prone player, and all the stars aligned for their championship season. This year it did not. The Knicks, which is what we're talking about, this channel, is for the New York Knicks and with the New York Knicks, which means We're not second guessing the New York Knicks. We support the New York Knicks. We don't try to armchair coach the New York Knicks. You know, there was a time before the previous 5 years. So this is 2025. Let's go back to 2019. From 2019, let's say from 2000 to 2019, about 20 years, the Knicks were a laughingstock. You could not talk about them with anyone. If you were a Knicks fan, they would laugh at you for good reason. Horrible management, unbalanced organization, terrible coaching, no sure direction. Okay? And so with that, the Knicks becoming a laughingstock. When Tom Thibodeau came on board, they were still a laughingstock. But people just didn't know that between the Don and Tom Thibodeau, new sheriffs had just come in town and things were going to change. But people were used to treating the Knicks as a laughingstock, and even the fans that call themselves fans of the Knicks were used to treating their own team as a laughingstock. But over the course of 5 years, even with the doubters, the haters, those idiots that don't realize things have changed, the Knicks have went from a laughingstock to a long-term sustainable winner. Now, that is different than Oklahoma. Oklahoma City is a championship contender every year. They could win the championship this year. They're in the finals. That legitimately makes them a championship contender. And with the youth and the structure of their team, they can remain that way for the next 3 years. The Knicks reached the conference finals this year, and they're going to be a threat for the conference finals every year for the next 3 years. Once they reach the finals, they have officially become a championship contender. Right now, it's Indiana and Oklahoma City. So, the Knicks have upside, is the conclusion I'm drawing here. They have upside with the current team. The current team can get better. They can get more out of the current roster without making any changes. The obvious way we're talking about today, and we're going to be during the next month, or during the course of the month of June, probably won't be doing videos every day as I did during the season, obviously, because there's constant games. The games, as Tom Thibodeau say, the games keep coming. So we won't be doing videos daily, but we will be doing probably 3, maybe 4 a week. And what we're going to be doing, first off, my plan is to start off on the lessons learned from this season and particularly this playoff run and the changes that we can expect. And this is the thing too. A lot of people wonder, how do I know certain things? How did I call the OG Anunoby trade or the Cat trade a year before they happened? How did I know that that was coming? How did I know that Thibs were going to bench eventually Evan Fournier in favor of Quentin Grimes? How did I know that Thibs were going to draft Deuce McBride? Because you have to understand who your coach is and what his habits are. The problem is, many people are so used to second guessing, and overall second guessing means disrespect. What do I mean by that? You have a job, hopefully. You work your job, hopefully. You do your job well, hopefully. If someone was to second guess you at everything you did at your job, you would feel disrespected. You would feel like you're being micromanaged, and you would not like it. Yet that's what all Knicks fans, or a majority of the haters, are doing with Tom Thibodeau. They're continually disrespecting him by continually second-guessing him, armchair quarterbacking, Monday morning quarterbacking him. And in that regard, you will never know what he's getting ready to do because you're too busy in the spirit of disrespect. And in disrespecting him, you are disrespecting Leon Rose, who chose him to be the head coach of the New York Knicks and has stuck with him, regardless of the noise of the media and the fans over the last 5 years. And that has been proven to be a right move. So, I respect Tom Thibodeau. I respected him in Chicago when I first saw him. I didn't know him. I knew he existed, but I didn't know what type of coach he was when he was an assistant under Jeff Van Gundy. I knew he was there, but I didn't know what type of coach he would become until he became the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. From that point to now, I've continually, without fail, respected Tom Thibodeau. I respect the defensive-oriented, tough-minded coach. We're from New York. We like tough. We like defense. Okay? That's how we be. And Thibs exemplifies that. Tough-minded, defensive-oriented, no-nonsense, no BS coach that knows the game, that has paid his dues. And Thibs has paid his dues in 20 years being an NBA assistant and NBA head coach. So the upside, what have we learned? What have the Knicks learned? What have Tom Thibodeau learned that we can expect to see in terms of changes? One of the reasons I brought up the disrespect of Tom Thibodeau is one of the ways it manifests itself is people do not understand this man in terms of understanding that he will do anything to win. He is ultra competitive, which is why he and Jalen Brunson understand each other. Jalen Brunson is ultra competitive, tough-minded, no nonsense. If you ever listen to him talk, especially to the stupid, idiotic questions he receives from the media, you know he's no nonsense. He thinks and speaks very clearly. He knows exactly what he's trying to do, and he looks to win at all costs, just like his coach. This is one of the things you want in a long-term, sustainable, winning organization. You want the guys that are in power in the executive office, namely Leon Rose, the Don, and all the people in that office, along with your head coach and his staff, along with your star player, to be exactly on the same page. Okay? If Tom Thibodeau ever felt the Knicks could win a chip without him as head coach, he would quit today. That's how badly he wants to win here. Okay? With that understanding, he will do whatever it takes to win. He will copy other coaches. He will be stubborn. He will stick to what he believes because he wants to win. With that understanding, if people really did understand what I just said, there would be less second guessing of him because you'd understand what he's trying to do, always trying to win. Okay? That's sports. Okay? There's much entertainment available, music, arts, and sports. The thing that differentiates sports is the competitive nature. One must win and one must lose. Okay? And in that high level of competition, everybody wants to win. The people that end up winning are usually fortunate, but they're also very, very competitive. Such is Tom Thibodeau. So, with that in mind, one of the biggest things that I find coming out of this past season that Tom Thibodeau has learned is the expansion of his rotation. Since his Chicago days, he has used an 8-man rotation in Chicago, in Minnesota, and in New York. 8, maybe 9 tops. Usually 8, and even it gets cut down to 7 and 8 when it goes to the playoffs. That has not been just Tom Thibodeau. He learned that from Jeff Van Gundy and guys like Pat Riley, who did the same thing. But in the modern era of the NBA, very little had happened until this year to prove that maybe that wasn't the best course of action. This particular season, you have 2 teams in the finals that use 10-man rotations. That is huge. The NBA is definitely a copycat league. Definitely. Always been that way. Like I said, my consciousness of the NBA goes back to Wilt Chamberlain. I vaguely remember Bill Russell, but I definitely remember watching Wilt Chamberlain when I was a little boy. And from that day to this, whoever wins a championship, whoever's the most successful, teams look to copy that. They look to copy that. When they find a team that's successful, when they find an organization that's successful, they look to copy that. The smart teams do. Not everybody does. That's why there's losers and winners. Some people want to go their own way and want to do it their way, my way or the highway or whatever, and they lose. But one of the things that helped me see that the Knicks were changing when Leon Rose came was the looking at the studying of other organizations that were long-term successful. As I mentioned, the Miami Heat, the San Antonio Spurs, the Boston Celtics, the Los Angeles Lakers. There are certain things that are common among them. Okay? And then more recent history, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay? Under Sam Presti. I've been fortunate to observe Sam Presti over the last 20 years, and very few minds and calculated managers like him exist that are so smart, that play chess and understand the chess moves that need to be made to build a long-term sustainable winner. He's done it several times. In Oklahoma City, he's produced 3 league MVPs. Actually, no, 4 league MVPs, including Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's had Kevin Durant as MVP, James Harden as an MVP. There have been Russell Westbrook as an MVP, and now Shai Gilgeous. There's no accident. It's not accident. Okay. At the very least, it shows his expert knowledge of talent. But the way Oklahoma City is built, with the salary cap today, in today's structure in society, and the way the NBA is structured today, he's within his salary cap. He has number 1 draft picks, and he has young championship team on his hands right now. That's not by accident. That's a tremendous basketball mind and talent, Sam Presti. So Thibs and Leon are trying to do the same thing. They're trying to have the same pattern, okay? And they've built it. So this particular season, you have a situation where you have 2 teams. Now, with Oklahoma City, looking at Oklahoma City, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have 9 players, 10 players that have appeared out of the 16 games that Oklahoma City has played in the playoffs. You have 10 players, that have appeared in at least 14 games. Okay, that's a 10-man rotation. You have 9 players that average 10 minutes or more per game. That's a 9-man rotation. The 10th guy is Jay Will, and Jay Will averages 9 minutes a game. So he's just outside the rotation. And he probably didn't play in a couple of games because of injury. But so you're basically talking about a 9-man rotation with a very close guy being a 10th guy with Jay Will. During the regular season, if you were to look at their regular season, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They had 7 guys, 8 guys, 9 guys that played at least 50 games. Jay Will was hurt, and he did not play. He played 47 games. So, but in all of those guys playing 50 games, you had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 34 minutes. Wiggins, let's go by the minutes. So Shai Gilgeous-Alexander 34 minutes. J-Dub 32, 29 minutes a game for Dort. Hartenstein 28 minutes. Carson Wallace 28 minutes. Holmgren 27 minutes. Aaron Wiggins 23 minutes. Isaiah Joe 22 minutes. Alex Caruso, who they picked up as free agency or through a trade, 19 minutes. 16 minutes for J-Dub. 17 minutes for J-Dub. 17 minutes for A.J. Mitchell. 16 minutes for Kendrick Williams. That was what they had. See, so both teams, Indiana and Oklahoma City, play 9 to 10 guys. If you're going to look at Indiana, you're going to find the same situation. They're going to have at least 9 guys with double-digit minutes per game. In fact, let's take a look at it. In the postseason, right now, in the postseason, you have, let me just get this here. You have Halliburton, 35 minutes a game. Siakam, 34. Nembhard, 33. Miles Turner, 30. 28 minutes or 29 minutes for Aaron Nesmith, 17 for Obi, 16 for McConnell, 16 for Mathurin, 14 for Ben Shepherd. So you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys with double-digit minutes. Then right outside of that, at 10 minutes, 9.8 is Jarice Walker. And you still have Thomas Bryant who plays 10 minutes a game. So you got 10 solid guys on the Indiana. So your two championship team play at least 9-man rotations. Let's be conservative about that. With probably a couple other guys. Thibodeau's going to do that. For all the minutes police out there, you should retire. Or you will be. Because Thibodeau, he's already proven he could win with an 8-man rotation. But he also showed all of us that he's willing to go a 10-man rotation. And that works. And so when you're talking about Delon Wright, who's going to be a free agent, and Landry Shamet, who's going to be a free agent, I can tell you one thing. They will both be back. Wright is a 9-year veteran, 33 years old. At this stage of his career, he's always been a bench piece. Sometimes he starts, or sometimes starter. But at this stage of his career, he's perfect coming off the bench. He's a veteran that doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He plays good defense. In other words, a Tom Thibodeau player. Landry Shamet is 28. He's in his prime. This was a bad year for him. Hurting his shoulder set him back. This was one of his worst years. And even in this particular season, one of his worst years, the Knicks were +3 with him on the court during the regular season and +9 with him on the court in the playoffs. That is because he can not only shoot the rock, but he can play high-level NBA defense. He's tough. He's a veteran. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He plays defense. In other words, a Tom Thibodeau bench piece. So with these two added to what you already have in Hart and Deuce coming off your bench next season, you have now a solid 9-man rotation. The only thing that we don't know yet, which I'm feeling like I kind of know, is the position of Ariel Hukporti. I feel like if Mitchell Robinson, as Tom Thibodeau has stated early this season, we said we're missing our starting center for most of the season. And he was talking about Mitchell Robinson. So if Mitchell Robinson starts the next year as the starting center, okay, which means Cat starts at power forward. You will have Josh Hart coming off the bench as your backup power forward. And Josh Hart's really a utility knife. He can play multiple positions, but Tom Thibodeau has multiple times called him a power forward because of his rebounding prowess. So you have Cat starting at the 4. You have Mitchell Robinson starting at the 5. You have Hart, Deuce, Shamet, and Wright as your bench. The only question is if Mitchell Robinson starts at the 5, I believe Ariel Hukporti, if he continues to show the development he showed this year, which he's worked very hard, as a matter of fact, not just him, but him and Tyler Kolek have gotten more. You could see they've added muscle to their frame even during the course of the season, which is excellent because that shows how hard they're working during the season when they're not playing. If he continues to show that type of development, he's going to be the backup center for the New York Knicks next season, which means he will be in a rotation, which means you're going to have a 10-man rotation. Okay? Now, the only thing I don't know about Hukporti, and I don't know yet, and I hope, we all as Knicks fans hope that he's not injury prone. We don't know yet. He slipped to 55, and he was available at 55 for the Knicks to get him last year because of his injury history. He tore his Achilles, I think it was. And he came back from it, as we can all see. This year, meniscus tear. And he was out again. And he wasn't even playing heavy minutes when that happened. Okay? So we don't know if he is going to be injury prone or not. It doesn't look good so far. I'm going to tell you that right now. So he is going to, his thing is he's going to get an opportunity. And we'll talk more about Ariel Hukporti as we go through June. But he's going to get an opportunity to make the rotation. Will he be able to keep it? If he's a guy that gets hurt after 10, 20 games, you're not going to see him around because Thibs don't play that. You got to be available, okay? Now, you got one Mitchell Robinson, but that's it. That's all you're going to get. And even Mitch Rob. This is very important. If Mitch Rob has to play the center spot with no real backup, you're going to see him come off the bench. He'll last longer that way. If Hukporti proves to be at least somewhat durable, and I'm talking about coming off the bench for the Knicks, I would expect 70 games out of the 82. Then we got something because now you got Hoop Porty, a very talented big behind Mitchell Robinson, both Tom Thibodeau type bigs in terms of defense, elite athleticism, and rim protection. So with those two, you got something. The 5 spot is locked down. So you would have that. With Precious, I don't know what's going to happen. That's the big question mark. It doesn't look good. I'm going to just say, looking at the pattern of things, it doesn't look good. But we have to see. I don't know yet. We'll find out by the time July comes. I think he's going to sign with another team. I hope he gets a nice contract. We wish him the best. I like Precious. I like his game. I like his upside. I think he's much better than people realize. But you're going to see a 9-man / 10-man rotation next year. That alone is going to cause the Knicks to be better because then you're going to see more out of one Mikal Bridges. Mikal slightly complained a little bit about minutes this year, and he doesn't miss games. He's very proud as a player that takes pride in not missing any games, and he wants to continue to do that. But he does get worn down sometimes, and you can see it in his production, especially in his offensive game where he's missing shots he would hit sometimes. If you add another guy to the rotation on a regular basis, so now instead of him playing 37 minutes a game, which is what he averaged last year, one of the highest minutes in the league was Mikal Bridges. He averaged 37 minutes a game. So if you reduce that from 37, let's say you go down to, let's say, more reasonable 34, 33, just those 4 minutes will make a huge, huge difference in his output. So just by adding Delon and Landry and possibly Ariel to the rotation, you're going to make a huge difference in Mikal Bridges' production. And so I think that's going to be shown. People like to focus on injuries with Tom Thibodeau's minutes, the minutes police particularly. But I don't worry about the injuries as much as the production. Can we get more out of Mikal Bridges by paying him a little bit less, by playing him 33 minutes instead of 37 minutes? Can we get more? He averaged 39 in the playoffs, 37 during the season. If we can get him down to a reasonable number, a 34, I think he's going to be a lot better player. And he's already good. Thing is, in spite of all the New York Knicks hate and the over-analyzing that people do and the over-coaching from their armchair with their beer in the hand that they do, you're going to see he's good. He's already good. And you're going to see him be even better with help. Help means he's got people coming off the bench that he can get a little bit more rest. And just those few minutes will make a huge difference for him and other players as well. So, and OG Anunoby averaged 39. Now, OG, the reason he averaged 39 is because he is the top defender on the New York Knicks. He's the guy that can guard every player on the floor. You can't switch on OG and get an advantage. Nobody can. It doesn't matter who it is. You can switch any of your 5 guys. If OG is on you, that is shut off. Okay? So that's why he plays so many minutes. Having him on the floor is major league for the Knicks because, the longer he can play, the better. Now, even with him, of course, you don't want to wear him out. He played 74 games this year, which is the highest he has ever played since his rookie year. I don't want to push that. I don't want to push it and say, "Dang, let's keep doing it." So again, having a Delon Wright and Landry Shamet with a Deuce McBride and Josh Hart, you could put all 4 of them out there together with Ariel. Once Ariel gets his feet under him, I think it's going to take about 30 games. Once he gets his feet under him and he is able to get acclimated, the center spot is hard to learn. And so this is why this past rookie year was very important for him to watch and learn from guys like Mitchell Robinson, how to play the center spot. And so that's going to continue next year as he continues to get here. Hopefully, I'm thinking if he makes the rotation about 15 minutes a game, so he gets that 15 minutes, he knows what he's doing out there. You put him out there with those 4 midgets and they can ball. Okay, you can give OG some rest and you can get some production. As we saw this year in the playoffs, when Brunson and Cat were out the game, the Knicks on more than one occasion went on runs of 10-2, 11-2. They went on runs like that. Why? Because the defense stepped up several notches. Okay, and the offense was just good enough to score, but the defense stepped up several notches. You'll see more of that. Okay, so overall, this video is about one change that you can expect to see coming into the 25-26 season. Knicks with a 9-man rotation, possibly 10. That's going to make a huge difference in the Knicks. It's going to make a huge difference on this team next year. Just that small change right there. Major league. And they learned that because why? Both Indiana and Oklahoma City, the 2 finalist participants in this year's NBA Finals, played 9 and 10-man rotations. And this is a copycat league, and Tom Thibodeau wants to win. You'll enjoy your Monday. So.